campaigning against climate change, and as Deepak said, we've been working with Biofuel Watch for a long time, and I just want to give them a shout out because biofuels, the danger of biofuels as a false solution to climate change is a really overlooked issue, and so I just want to give respect to them for banging on about it for so long and getting people to listen. So, thank you, yeah, great. So, having been campaigning on climate change for a while, I thought that I was pretty cynical, but even I was shocked when I found out that Minister Andrea Leadsom had decided to overrule the Planning Inspectorate, who had actually said, you should not put new gas power in here in Drax because of climate change. And that's finally this seems like something is starting to shift, that climate change is being realised as being a huge issue, and then she went, nah, we want gas, more fossil fuels. And it is appalling. When I did think, when have I heard her name before in relation to climate change, and remembered that in 2015 she became Energy Minister, and apparently one of the first things she did when she took the job was she said, well, I had to check whether climate change was real. You would have thought that things might have moved on since then, but perhaps not. And it's not just Drax. Apparently there are at least 17 gas-fired power stations with possible construction in the UK. Close? Yeah, cool. So, still, the government's response to the school strikes, the government's response to Extinction Rebellion is say, look, it's fine, trust us, be quiet, go home, shut up, we've got this in hand. We do not believe them, we will not shut up, we will not go home.
Hear, hear.
They have set their own targets, they are not on course to meet them. They're building new runways, building roads, funding, giving export credits for fossil fuel development overseas, spending renewable funding on big biomass, which we've heard how damaging it is, this approval of new gas power, and counting on unproven technology, carbon capture and storage, to get us out of this fix, kicking the can down the road for future generations to deal with. Now we know that campaigners, it seems tough, but we can win battles. Coal is being phased out in the UK. Coal burning. We've heard from Lorraine about how the war on fracking is being won, and that seemed unlikely just a few years ago. We've also heard testimonies from Russia, from Colombia, from people who are on the front line of extraction, and those are the voices that we need to hear. We need to hear the voices of those affected by climate change, but affected by the extraction and exploitation that our economy is based on. Defenders whose lives are being threatened for their activism. And yet, at the moment, the seats around the decision-making table are often reserved for fossil fuel companies. We need to change this, and that is especially important because next year the UN climate talks are being hosted in the UK. The government will claim that they are hosting these climate talks in the position of being a climate leader. So we say that is a lie. And what we need to do is many, many, many steps away from being a climate leader, but one of the steps we need to take is to axe Drax. Thank you very much.